You do not begin as a person. You begin as a vast, silent potential that is violently squeezed into a scream. The first thing you know is the cold. The second thing you know is the hunger. The third is the separation. You are born into a world that is already complete, a world that towers over you, hard and indifferent. The giants who hold you, the mother, the father, the doctor in the white coat. They look at you as a thing that has entered their reality. They do not know, and you have already forgotten that you are the one creating them. This is the first tragedy of your life, the great forgetting. You grow up in a timeline that smells of coal smoke, damp wool, and the nervous electricity of a century finding its legs. The year is 1900, or perhaps it is timeless. The furniture changes, but the feeling of the trap remains the same. You are taught the rules of the game before you are even allowed to roll the dice. They teach you the word no before they teach you the word I. You learn that reality is something that happens to you. You are a cork bobbing in a violent ocean. If it rains, you get wet. If they yell, you shrink. If there is no food, you starve. You are a biological machine designed for reaction. Input, output, stimulus, response. You observe the adults around you, and you see the panic behind their eyes. They are terrified of tomorrow. They are terrified of the landlord, of the weather, of the government, of God. And their God is a tyrant. He is a white-bearded CEO in the sky who keeps a ledger of your thoughts. You are told that you are small, that you are sinful, and that your only hope is to beg for scraps of mercy. You sit in hard wooden pews on Sundays, smelling the dust and the fear, and you learn to make yourself small. You learn that power is external. Power is the policeman. Power is the bank manager. Power is the storm. You are just the soft, pink thing that gets crushed if you don't walk the line. By the time you are 12, the programming is complete. You are asleep. You walk, you talk, you do your arithmetic, but you are sleepwalking. You believe the mirror is the source of the reflection. You believe the shadow is casting the object. Adolescence hits you like a fever. The world speeds up. The Great War comes and goes, a meat grinder that chews up the boys from the neighborhood and spits them out as broken men or telegrams. You watch this happen, and you confirm the hypothesis. Life is cruel, random, and dangerous. You learn to armor your heart. You learn the dry, cynical humor of the survivor. You learn to laugh at things because if you don't, you'll scream until your throat bleeds. You get a job. It doesn't matter what the job is. Maybe you are stacking crates in a warehouse where the air is thick with sawdust. Maybe you are typing numbers into a ledger under the buzzing of an electric bulb. You trade your hours for coins. You trade your life for the permission to keep living it. It feels like a scam, but everyone else is playing along, so you assume this is just how it is. This is reality. The 20s roar into existence. The skirts get shorter, the music gets faster, and the liquor gets illegal and much worse. You throw yourself into the noise. You want to drown out the quiet voice in the back of your head that keeps asking, "Is this it?" You drink the gin that tastes like turpentine. You dance the Charleston until your legs ache. You chase money. You chase lovers. You chase the high of being distracted. For a few years, it works. You are a modern person. You believe in science, in automobiles, in the stock market. You believe that if you just run fast enough, you can outrun the emptiness. But the emptiness is patient. The emptiness has nowhere to be. It waits for you at the bottom of the bottle. It waits for you in the silence of the bedroom at 3 a.m. when the party is over and the ceiling stares back at you like a blank, white eye. You are 26 years old. You are tired. You are broke, or maybe you are rich. But you are spiritually bankrupt. You feel a grinding friction in your gears. You are trying to force the world to give you what you want, and the world is resisting. You are pushing against a locked door. You hustle, you scheme, you work late, you worry. God, how you worry. You worry about your health. You worry about your reputation. You replay conversations in your head, thinking of what you should have said. You are a prisoner of your own mind, pacing the cell of the past and the future, never actually living in the now. And then, the crash comes. Maybe it's the market. Maybe it's a woman who leaves you. Maybe it's a diagnosis. The specifics don't matter. The structure is always the same. The external supports you leaned on are kicked away. You fall. You hit the concrete of your own limitations. You find yourself wandering the rainy streets of a city that feels alien to you. The neon signs reflect in the puddles, red, blue, green, like spilled paint. You are looking for something, though you couldn't name it if someone held a gun to your head. You are looking for a way out of the trap. You duck into a bookstore to escape the downpour. It is a small, cramped place that smells of old paper and cat litter. The shopkeeper is a skeleton with glasses, ignoring you from behind a barricade of encyclopedias. You wander the aisles, trailing your fingers over the spines of books written by dead men. History, mathematics, theology. None of it helps. It's all just more data about the cage. Then you see it. It's not a grand tome. It's small, unassuming. It looks dangerous in its simplicity. It was published this year, 1926. It sits on a table labeled metaphysics, a word that sounds like a disease. You pick it up. The cover is red or perhaps plain brown. It feels heavy for its size, dense, like a brick of lead. You open it. You read the first sentence. It doesn't ask you to repent. It doesn't ask you to learn history. It makes a claim so bold, so arrogant, and so terrifying that you almost laugh out loud. It tells you that you are God. Not in a blasphemous way, not in a way that suggests you should be worshipped, but in a mechanical way. It tells you that your mind, your subconscious mind, is the instrument that creates your reality. It tells you that the world out there is nothing more than a delayed playback of the recording you made in here. You read on, standing there in your wet coat, rainwater dripping from the brim of your hat onto the floor. The prose is dry, direct. It speaks of the God consciousness. It speaks of a law. It says that you have been using this power every single day of your life, but you have been using it in reverse. You have been using your God power to create prisons, sickness, and poverty because you believed in them. You imagined them, you feared them, and the law said, yes. The book says, the great secret of life is that you become what you think about. You buy the book. It costs $1. You feel like you have just bought a stick of dynamite. You take it back to your small apartment. You sit at the kitchen table, the single bulb swinging overhead, casting long, nervous shadows. You pour a glass of water. You open the book again. You read it cover to cover. It's short. It doesn't need to be long. Truth is always efficient. Only lies need to be complicated. The premise is sickeningly simple. There is a part of you, the conscious mind, that selects the seed. There is a part of you, the subconscious mind, that is the soil. If you plant a seed of corn, the soil does not argue. It does not ask if you deserve corn. It does not check your bank account. It simply grows corn. If you plant nightshade, it grows poison with the exact same enthusiasm. The book tells you that for 26 years, you have been planting poison. Every time you worried about rent, you were praying for poverty. Every time you feared rejection, you were commanding the universe to reject you. You realize, with a cold horror, that you are not the victim of your life. You are the architect of your own hell. You close the book. You look around your shabby apartment, the peeling wallpaper, the dripping tap, the pile of unpaid bills. You created this. You did this. Anger flares up. This is ridiculous. This is fairy tale nonsense. You didn't ask to be poor. You didn't ask to be lonely. You worked hard. You are a good person. This book is insulting. You want to throw it out the window. You want to go back to the sleep where you can blame the economy, blame the government, blame your parents. Blame feels good. Blame is a warm blanket. Responsibility is a cold shower. But you can't throw it away. The idea has a hook in you now. A virus has entered your system. What if? What if everything you think you know about cause and effect is backwards? Most people believe that when they see something good, they will feel good. The book says, feel good first, and you will see the good. Most people believe that when they get the money, they will feel wealthy. The book says, feel wealthy first, and the money must come. It sounds like insanity. It sounds like lying to yourself. Delusion. You whisper to the empty room. Creation. The silence whispers back. You decide to test it. You are a desperate creature, and desperate creatures will try anything. The book offers a method. It is precise. It is not about wishing upon a star. It is about tuning a frequency. The method requires 3 things: a clear mental image of the desire, the feeling of the wish already fulfilled, the discipline to deny the evidence of the senses. The third one is the killer. Deny the evidence of the senses. You look at your bank account. It says 0. The book says, ignore that. That is the past. That is the dead echo of an old thought. If you look at the 0 and feel lack, you are planting a fresh seed of 0. You have to look at the 0 and feel plenty. You have to look at the empty bed and feel love. You have to look at the sickness and feel health. You decide to start small. You don't want to break your brain on the first night. You choose something trivial. A blue feather. You want to see a blue feather. You sit in your chair. You close your eyes. You follow the instructions. You quiet the noise of the jazz age in your head. You imagine a blue feather. You feel the texture of it. Silky, light. You see the iridescent sheen of the indigo. You don't think of the feather. You think from the feather. You hold it in your mind's hand. You feel a tiny spike of gratitude, as if you have just found it. Then you open your eyes. The room is the same. No feather. You feel foolish. You feel like a child pretending to be a wizard. You go to bed. You dream of gears grinding against gears. The next day is Tuesday. Reality hits you hard. The landlord knocks on your door at 8 a.m. He is a thick man with a face like a clenched fist. He wants his money. You don't have it. You feel the familiar surge of cortisol, the adrenaline of the hunted animal. You start to apologize, start to make the usual excuses. Then you stop. You remember the book. The subconscious accepts whatever you feel is truth. If you feel fear now, you are ordering more of this landlord for next month. You are signing a contract for more fear. You take a breath. It is the hardest breath you have ever taken. You look the landlord in the eye. You do not fight him, but you do not accept his vibration. In your mind, you overlay his angry face with a sensation of relief. You imagine yourself handing him the cash. You imagine him smiling and saying, Thank you. I will have it for you on Friday, you say. Your voice is calm. It surprises you. It surprises him. He blinks. The script has changed. Usually, you beg. Usually, you whine. He grunts, confused by the shift in energy. Friday, he says, pointing a sausage finger, or you're out. He leaves. You close the door. Your heart is hammering, but you didn't collapse. You feel a strange buzz in your chest. You didn't react. You acted. You walk to work. You keep your eyes open. You are looking for the feather. You look at the hats of the ladies passing by, lots of feathers. But they are black, brown, pheasant, ostrich, no blue. You look at the gutters. You look at the shop windows. Nothing. By lunchtime, the doubt is back. It's a scam, your mind chatters. You're a fool. There is no magic. There is only the grind. You eat your sandwich on a park bench. The city is gray. The pigeons are gray. The mood is gray. You wipe a crumb from your lip and look down at your shoes. And there it is, stuck to the heel of your scuffed brown Oxford. A small, brilliant electric blue feather. Not a pigeon feather dyed blue. A piece of something exotic. A parrot? A hat decoration blown loose. You reach down and peel it off the leather. You hold it up to the light. It shimmers. It is exactly the shade of indigo you imagined. It is undeniable. The world stops. The traffic noise fades into a dull hum. You are holding a glitch in the matrix. You are holding proof. A shiver runs down your spine that has nothing to do with the cold. If you could manifest this, if you could pull this object out of the ether simply by tuning your mind to it, then what else have you done? You look at the scar on your hand. Did you manifest that? You look at the empty space where a wedding ring should be. Did you manifest the loneliness? You think of your mother's illness. Did you? No. The thought is too heavy. It crushes you. The guilt is instant and suffocating. If you are God, then you are a negligent God. You are a God who has been sleeping at the wheel, driving the car off the cliff over and over again. You rush home after work. You ignore the colleagues who ask you for a drink. You need the book. You need to understand the safety mechanisms. You feel like a caveman who has accidentally stumbled into the cockpit of a fighter jet and hit the ignition. You read the chapter on the law of assumption. Disregard appearances, conditions, in fact, all evidence of your senses that deny the fulfillment of your desire. You realize that this is not a game. This is a war. It is a war between the inner man and the outer world. The outer world is a bully. It screams, look at the poverty, look at the war, look at your failures. It wants you to agree with it. It wants your attention. It feeds on your attention. The inner man, the God self, must be an iron fortress. It must look at the poverty and see wealth. It must look at the war and see peace. It is the ultimate delusional act, yet it is the only sanity there is. You decide to up the stakes. You are done with feathers. You need money. You need freedom. You sit in the chair again. You start to construct a scene. You want a promotion. No, you want a new career. You want to be a writer. You have always wanted to write. But the world told you that writers starve. The world told you to be an accountant. You close your eyes. You build the scene. You are holding a letter. You feel the texture of the heavy, expensive paper. You smell the ink. You read the words. We are pleased to accept your manuscript. You try to feel the joy, but your mind fights back. Who are you kidding? It sneers. You dropped out of school. You can't spell. You're a nobody. The resistance is physical. It hurts. Your brain physically rejects the new thought. It's like trying to bend a stiff wire. It keeps snapping back to its original shape. You sweat. You clench your teeth. You force the feeling. You summon the emotion of pride. You summon the sensory detail of the handshake with the editor. You do this for an hour. When you open your eyes, you are exhausted. You feel like you have dug a ditch. The next day, you are fired. You stand on the sidewalk, holding your box of personal items. The boss didn't even look at you. Cutbacks, he said. Efficiency. You stand in the rain. You laugh. You laugh a dry, bitter laugh that scares a woman walking her dog. I imagine success. You shout at the sky. And I get fired? You go home. You throw the book across the room. It hits the wall and falls open, spine cracked. You pour a drink. You drink until the room spins. You have been tricked. The universe is playing a joke on you. You tried to be God, and reality slapped you down to remind you that you are a worm. But as the gin settles in your blood, a thought creeps in. A thought from the book. The old house must be demolished before the new one can be built. You sit up. You look at the book lying on the floor like a dead bird. What if the firing wasn't a punishment? What if it was a bridge of incidents? You couldn't be a writer while sitting at that accounting desk. You had to be moved. And since you didn't move yourself, your subconscious moved you. It used the boss. It used the economy. It used the cutbacks. It grabbed you by the scruff of the neck and threw you out of the nest. You crawl over to the book. You pick it up. You smooth out the crumpled pages. Okay, you whisper. Okay. You play rough. You are starting to understand the price of admission. If you want a new life, you have to be willing to lose the old one. Totally. You have to be willing to stand in the void with nothing but your imagination and trust that the ground will appear beneath your feet before you land. You are unemployed. You have rent due in 3 days. You have a dangerous book and a headache. You decide to double down. You spend the next 3 days in a trance. You do not look for a job. You write. You write like a demon. You pour everything onto the page, the frustration, the fear, the hope. You finish a short story. It's raw. It's real. On Friday morning, you have no money for the landlord. You have a manuscript. You walk to the post office. You spend your last coins on stamps. You send the story to a magazine in New York. You have nothing left. Your pockets are empty. You walk home. The landlord is waiting on the stoop. He looks like a thunderstorm wrapped in cheap wool. Money, he says. You look at him. You have no money. But you have the state of consciousness. You have the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You know, with a terrifying certainty, that you are a paid writer. The money is already yours. It just hasn't arrived in the time delay of the physical world yet. I don't have it today, you say. He steps forward, fists bunching. But, you continue, holding his gaze, I will have double for you next month. I guarantee it. There is a silence. In that silence, two realities collide. The reality of your poverty and the reality of your inner wealth. The stronger reality always wins. The stronger signal overrides the weaker one. He stares at you. He sees something in your eyes that he hasn't seen before. He sees a lack of fear. Predators only attack when they smell fear. When they smell certainty, they hesitate. Double, he grunts. Next month, or I call the police. He turns and walks away. You exhale. You have bought 30 days. You have bet your life on a mental image. The month passes. It is a crucible. You eat oatmeal and water. You walk to save bus fare. But you do not waver. Every night, you enter the silence. You replay the scene of the acceptance letter. You polish the feeling until it shines like a diamond. You live in the end. You walk around your apartment acting like a successful author. You toast your water glass to your imaginary fans. You are rewriting your brain. You are burning new neural pathways through the dense jungle of your old habits. It is exhausting work. It is harder than carrying bricks. 3 days before rent is due again, the letter comes. It is thin. Acceptance letters are thin. Rejections are thick because they contain your returned manuscript. You hold the envelope. Your hands are trembling. This is the moment of truth. This is the test of the law. You rip it open. A check falls out. It is for $50. A fortune. And the note. We love it. More like this, please. You fall to your knees on the linoleum floor. You are weeping, but you are not sad. You are terrified. It works. The dangerous book works. You are not a cork in the ocean. You are the ocean. But as you clutch that check, a shadow falls over your heart. You realize the implication. If you can summon $50 in a career with your mind, you can summon anything. You can summon love. You can summon power. You can summon destruction. You have been given the keys to the control room of reality, but you are still a flawed, jealous, fearful human being. You are a child who has found a loaded revolver. You stand up. You wipe your eyes. You look in the mirror. The face looking back is different. The eyes are older, deeper. Now what? The reflection asks. Now, you say, we take it all. You have tasted the fruit. You have left the garden of ignorance. The world is no longer a solid thing. It is malleable clay. And you are going to sculpt a masterpiece, or you are going to break everything trying. This is the end of your innocence. This is the beginning of your power. And power is a heavy burden. You cash the check. You hold the crisp bills in your hand, and they feel different from any money you have ever held before. They do not feel like luck. They do not feel like labor. They feel like obedience. The physical world has obeyed a command issued in the silence of your skull. You move out of the damp apartment within the week. You leave the peeling wallpaper and the smell of boiled cabbage without a backward glance. You do not say goodbye to the landlord. You do not need to. He was just a shadow, cast by your old state of mind. And now that the light has moved, the shadow has vanished. You rent a suite in a building with an elevator and a doorman who wears white gloves. You buy suits cut from Italian wool. You buy a fountain pen with a gold nib. You are constructing a costume for the new character you have decided to play. The book told you that the inner man must be clothed in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But you find that clothing the outer man helps the illusion stick. You write. You write with a ferocity that borders on mania. You are no longer writing to sell. You are writing to dictate. You sit at your mahogany desk, overlooking the city that once crushed you, and you realize the city is just a sprawling stage set. The trams, the skyscrapers, the shouting newsboys, they are props. They are there because you acknowledge them. Success floods in. It does not trickle. It breaks the dam. Magazines fight for your stories. A publisher offers you a contract for a novel. The money piles up in the bank account, zeros adding to the end of the ledger like soldiers falling into line. But the most addictive part is not the money. It is the secret. You walk through dinner parties, holding a crystal glass of champagne, listening to men complain about the economy, about the war rumblings in Europe, about their wives. You nod, you smile. But behind your eyes, you are laughing. You are walking among sleepwalkers. They think they are victims of circumstance. They think the stock market is a dragon that eats their savings. You want to shake them. You want to grab them by the lapels and scream, "Stop imagining it, and it will go away." But you don't. You have learned that the law is a jealous mistress. It requires silence. "Go and tell no man," the ancient text said. If you spill the energy and talk, you lose the pressure required to manifest. So you hoard the secret. You become a sphinx. People start to call you lucky. They call you charmed. They say you have the Midas touch. You begin to experiment with people. This is where the ice gets thin. You are lonely. The superficial affairs of your old life no longer interest you. You want a specific woman. You saw her once at a gallery opening. A woman with eyes like dark water and a stillness that matched your own. She is out of your league. She is old money. You are new ink. She is engaged to a man who owns shipping lines. The old you would have sighed and drunk himself into a stupor. The new you goes home, sits in the velvet armchair, and closes his eyes. You do not call her. You do not send flowers. You go into the laboratory of your mind. You bring her up on the screen of your imagination. You construct a scene, a simple scene. You are walking in a park, and she is walking beside you. You feel the weight of her hand on your arm. You smell her perfume, jasmine and sandalwood. You hear her voice, low and intimate, saying, "I have never felt this way about anyone." You loop this scene over and over. You run it like a film strip. You feel the ring of the metal railing under your hand. You feel the crisp autumn air. You make it real. You saturate your senses with her presence until the empty room smells of jasmine. You do this for 3 nights. You ignore the reality that she is engaged. You ignore the reality that she doesn't know your name. You brazenly overwrite the facts. On the 4th day, you receive an invitation to a garden party. You go. She is there. She is standing by the fountain, looking bored. You walk up to her. You do not use a pickup line. You simply stand in the state of being loved by her. She turns. Her eyes widen slightly. It is a look of recognition, though you have never met. The law is bridging the gap. The subconscious has arranged the bridge of incidents. "Do I know you?" she asks. "I think you do," you say. 6 months later, the shipping magnate is a memory. She's sleeping in your bed. You wake up in the middle of the night and watch her breathe. The moonlight traces the curve of her shoulder. It is a perfect victory. You have stolen a human being from a destiny she thought was set in stone, simply by rewriting the script in your head. But as you watch her sleep, a cold thought touches the base of your neck. Did she choose this? Or did you infect her? Is this love, or is it a spell? You are the operant power. You are the God of your world. But if you are God, then everyone else is just a prayer you answered. Is she real? Or is she just a reflection of your desire? A sophisticated puppet dancing on the strings of your assumption? You push the thought away. It is too dangerous. If you pull that thread, the whole tapestry unravels. You kiss her shoulder. She stirs and smiles in her sleep. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. You have what you wanted. The years blur. The 30s are a golden haze for you, even as the world darkens. You move to a penthouse. You publish bestsellers. You are a titan of industry, a cultural icon. You have mastered the technique to the point of boredom. You want a parking space? You imagine it, and a car pulls out just as you arrive. You want a table at the fully booked restaurant? You imagine the maitre d' smiling, and suddenly a cancellation calls in. You want a critic silenced? You imagine him praising you. Or perhaps you imagine him irrelevant, and he fades from your reality like a ghost. You become arrogant. You begin to treat reality with contempt. It is too easy. You are playing a video game with the cheat codes on. There is no resistance, and without resistance, there is no friction. Without friction, you feel like you are sliding over the surface of life, never truly touching it. The ego swells. The God within was supposed to be a spiritual realization, a union with the divine. But your small, scared human ego has hijacked the throne. You are not acting as the divine consciousness. You are acting as a dictator. You start to notice the side effects. Because you know that the world reflects your inner state, you become paranoid about your inner state. You become a hypochondriac of the mind. Every negative thought terrifies you. What if I imagine cancer? You think. Don't think that. You scream internally. Cancel, cancel. But the seed is dropped. You spend days fighting your own imagination, terrified that a stray worry will manifest a catastrophe. You become rigid. You stop reading the newspapers because the bad news might infect your subconscious. You stop listening to sad music. You curate your life into a sterilized bubble of positivity that feels like a tomb. You are walking on a tightrope over an abyss, carrying a heavy pole of gold. You cannot look down. You cannot slip. You must maintain the state of the wish fulfilled at all costs. It is exhausting. It is a mental tyranny. And then the cracks appear in the mirror. It starts with your wife, the woman you manifested, the woman you rewrote reality to get. She seems hollow. She says the lines you expect her to say. She loves you exactly as much as you believe she loves you. But there is no surprise. There's no jagged edge of otherness. She is a perfect echo of your own self-love. When you look into her eyes, you don't see a soul. You see the back of your own head. One evening, over a dinner of roasted duck and expensive burgundy, she puts down her fork. I feel like I'm disappearing, she says softly. You freeze. What do you mean? I don't know, she says, touching her forehead. I feel like I'm a character in someone else's book. I don't know what I want anymore. I only know what you want. The blood drains from your face. She's sensing the mechanism. She's feeling the strings. You're tired, you say, pushing a projection of calm and health at her like a weapon. You just need rest. You are happy. We are happy. You double down on the imaging. You go into your study and visualize her smiling, laughing, being vibrant. You overwrite her confession. You force the script back on track. It works for a while. She smiles again. The gloss returns. But you know you are dating a zombie of your own creation. You have killed the wild, unpredictable spark of her free will by drowning it in your assumption of possession. You start to drink again. The alcohol numbs the hypervigilance. It dulls the constant work of holding up the sky. The decline is not sudden. It is a slow rot. You have everything: the penthouse, the fame, the girl, the health. But the flavor has gone out of the food. It all tastes like ash. You sit in your study surrounded by awards, and you look at the dangerous book, which still sits on your shelf. The spine is broken, the pages yellowed. You become what you think about. You realize you have made a terrible mistake. You thought about getting. You thought about having. You used the power of God to accumulate toys. You treated the subconscious like a cosmic vending machine. You put in a thought coin and you got a prize. But you never asked what you should want. You never asked for wisdom. You never asked for connection. You only asked for more. And the law gave you more. It gave you so much more that you are drowning in it. One rainy Tuesday in November, the invoice for your arrogance arrives. You are at a premiere for the film adaptation of your latest book. The lights are flashing. The photographers are shouting your name. You are wearing a tuxedo that costs more than your father made in a lifetime. You should be soaring. Instead, you feel a sudden, crushing wave of detachment. The sound drops out. The people moving around you, the producers, the starlets, the fans, they turn into two-dimensional cardboard cutouts. You see the code behind the matrix. You see that they are just animated projections of your own vanity. You are the only real thing in the universe. You are a solitary consciousness floating in a hall of mirrors, endlessly looking at distortions of yourself. It is a solipsistic nightmare. If you created all this, then you are alone. Utterly, terrifyingly alone. There is no other to love you, because the other is just you pushed out. Panic seizes you. It is not the panic of poverty, it is the panic of existence. You gasp for air. You stumble away from the cameras. You run out the side exit into the alleyway. The rain hits your face, cold and hard. It is the only thing that feels real. You lean against the brick wall, gasping. You try to use the technique. I am calm, you tell yourself. I am safe. I am at peace. But the machine is jammed. The fear is too strong. You have fed the fear of isolation for years by isolating yourself in your tower of manifestation. Now, the harvest is here. The law works both ways. You are now planting seeds of terror with the same intensity you once used to plant seeds of wealth. I am going insane, you think. And the law, faithful and neutral as gravity, whispers, yes, you are. The ground beneath. You feels like it is dissolving. The buildings around you seem to warp, twisting like melting wax. Your reality is destabilizing because the anchor, your mind, is coming loose. You stagger home. You do not take the elevator. You run up the stairs, flight after flight, heart hammering against your ribs. You burst into the penthouse. Martha, you scream. You need her. You need her to be real. You need her to tell you that she exists outside of your head. The apartment is silent. The lights are off. You run to the bedroom. The bed is made, perfectly smooth, unsleeping. You find a note on the pillow. It is not a suicide note. It is worse. I'm sorry, it reads. I don't feel real here. I'm going to find myself. Please don't look for me. I don't think I exist when you're looking at me. You drop the note. You fall onto the bed. You try to imagine her back. You close your eyes. You scrunch your face. She is here. She is here. She is here. But you can't feel it. You are empty. You have spent all your creative capital on control, and now you have no fuel left for love. The image of her disintegrates into static. You are the King Midas of the 20th century. You have turned your world to gold, and now you are starving to death in a glittery tomb. You lie in the dark for 3 days. You don't eat. You don't answer the phone. The phone rings and rings. Agents, lawyers, friends. They are all just echoes. Why answer an echo? On the third night, you get up. You are weak. You are unshaven. You look like the man you were 10 years ago, the desperate boy in the wet coat. You walk to the bookshelf. You take down the book. You want to burn it. You want to destroy the knowledge. You want to go back to being a sleepwalker. Ignorance was bliss. Ignorance was a warm, crowded room. Awakening is a cold, empty peak. But you know you can't go back. You have seen the gears. You can't unsee them. You open the book to a later chapter, one you skimmed over in your rush to get the cars and the money. The pages are crisp, untouched. The chapter title is The Promise. You thought the book was about getting things. You realize now, with a jolt of adrenaline, that the law was just the first half. It was the toy given to the child to keep him occupied until he was ready for the truth. You read, "To exercise the power of God to get things is to remain a slave to things. The purpose of the law is not to change the world. It is to change the self until the self remembers who it really is." You sink to the floor. The words hit you like a hammer. You were trying to change the mirror. You were scrubbing at the glass, trying to make the reflection smile, trying to make the reflection rich, trying to make the reflection love you. But you never changed the nature of the observer. You remained a small, greedy, fearful little ego, wielding a weapon of cosmic power. You built a paradise for a false self. And because the self was false, the paradise became a prison. You look out the window at the city lights. Millions of souls, millions of dreamers, all weaving their nightmares and fantasies into a collective tangle. You feel a sudden, profound exhaustion. You are done with manipulating. You are done with manifesting. You don't want another car. You don't want another award. You don't even want Martha back, not if she has to be a puppet. You want to wake up. Not wake up to a better reality. You want to wake up from reality. You close your eyes. This time, you do not imagine a scene. You do not visualize a check. You do not visualize a face. You ask a question into the void. A dangerous question. The most dangerous question of all. If I am not this body, and I am not this story, and I am not these desires, then who am I? You stop the projection. You pull all your energy back from the outer world. You stop holding up the walls of the penthouse. You stop holding up your reputation. You stop holding up the past. You let go. The sensation is terrifying. It feels like dying. The world you built starts to collapse. The silence rushes in like a roar of water. You're about to find out what lies beneath the floorboards of the universe. You're about to meet the author. You fall through the floorboards of the universe. For a moment, there is terror. The mind scrambles to find a hook, a ledge, a concept to grab onto. It screams, "I am a famous writer. I am a wealthy man. I am a husband." But in the void, these sentences have no weight. They are like paper airplanes thrown into a hurricane. They dissolve instantly. You continue to fall. You fall past your name. You fall past your gender. You fall past the year 1936. You fall past the concept of human. Darkness wraps around you, but it is not the darkness of a tomb. It is the darkness of a womb. It is a thick, velvety silence that is pregnant with potential. You realize, with a shock that has no physical sensation, that you are not dead. You are more alive than you have ever been. But there is no you left to experience it. There is only awareness. There is a single point of consciousness floating in the infinite. It has no history. It has no future. It has no debts. It has no desires. It simply is. It whispers, "I am." Not "I am this" or "I am that." Just "I am." In this space, you understand the joke. You understand the cosmic humor of your entire life. You spent 30 years trying to become something. You tried to become rich, become loved, become safe. You treated God like a battery you could charge yourself with. But you see now that you were never the battery. You were the electricity. You were never the character on the screen. You were the light passing through the film. The character suffered, yes. The character was poor, then rich, then lonely. But the light was never wet by the rain. The light was never burned by the fire. The light was never broken by the divorce. The light just shone. You rest in this realization. It is the first time you have rested since you were born. The heavy armor of the ego, the constant need to defend, to prove, to acquire, is gone. You feel a sensation of love so overwhelming that if you had a body, it would shatter. It is a love that asks for nothing because it is everything. You stay there for an eternity, or perhaps a second. Time is a game you are no longer playing. Then, slowly, gravity pulls you back. You open your eyes. You are lying on the rug in your penthouse. The city lights of New York are still blinking outside the window. The clock on the mantelpiece ticks. Tick, tick, tick. You push yourself up. Your body feels heavy, dense, like a diving suit you have to zip back into. You look at your hands. They are the same hands, manicured, slightly aging. But they look different. You see the life animating them. You see the miracle of the bones and the skin. You stand up. You are thirsty. You walk to the kitchen. You pour a glass of water. You drink. The water is cold. It is sharp. It is the most delicious thing you have ever tasted. You are not drinking it as the famous writer. You are drinking it as God experiencing thirst. You walk to the mirror in the hallway. You look at the face that terrified you 3 days ago. The face of the lonely, solipsistic madman. You smile. It's a genuine smile. You feel a sudden, deep affection for this character you are playing. He's a bit of a mess. He's arrogant. He's scared. But that's okay. It's just a role. It's just a costume. You are no longer trapped inside him. You are wearing him. You go to the bookshelf. You pick up the dangerous book. You don't want to burn it anymore. You understand it now. The book wasn't wrong. It was just incomplete. It taught you how to arrange the furniture in the dream. But it didn't wake you up. Now you are awake. And because you are awake, you can play the game with a lightness you never possessed before. You do not need to manifest anything to be happy. You are already whole. And paradoxically, because you do not need anything, the world rushes to serve you. The next few years are strange. The world outside begins to scream. It is 1939. The newspapers are full of swastikas and invasion maps. The collective consciousness of humanity is descending into a nightmare of fear and separation. Oh. Old friends call you. They are panicked. Have you seen the news? They ask. The market is crashing. War is coming. What are we going to do? You listen to them. You hear the terror in their voices. It is the old melody of the sleepwalker. The world is happening to me. I am a victim. You do not preach to them. You do not tell them they are God. They are not ready to hear it. And it would sound like madness in the face of falling bombs. Instead, you offer them the presence of the I Am. When you speak, you are calm. Not the forced, rigid calm you practiced in your positive thinking phase, but a deep, oceanic calm. You tell them, it will be well. And because you are speaking from the dimension of the real, your words have weight. They hang up the phone feeling steady, though they don't know why. You realize this is your new function. You are a stabilizer. You are a frequency anchor. In a world of chaos, you are the one holding the pattern of peace. You stop writing commercial novels. You start writing strange, mystical essays. Your publisher hates them. This isn't what the market wants, he yells. They want escapism. They want romance. Publish it or don't, you say gently. It doesn't matter. He publishes them. They sell poorly at first, then quietly, they start to spread. People read them and feel a ringing in their bones. You are planting seeds for a harvest you will not see. Then the test comes. It is 1941. You are in London on business, or perhaps fate, when the sirens wail. The Blitz. You are huddled in a basement shelter with strangers. The earth shakes. Dust falls from the ceiling. Above you, the city is burning. The sound of the explosions is a physical blow to the chest. A woman next to you is hyperventilating. She's clutching a child, rocking back and forth, sobbing. "We're going to die," she screams. "We're buried alive." The fear in the room is contagious. It is a black smoke choking everyone. You feel it trying to enter you. You feel your own biology reacting, the adrenaline, the instinct to curl into a ball. But you remember, I am not this body. I am not this situation. I am the screen on which this war is playing. You close your eyes. You go into the silence. You ignore the bombs. You ignore the screaming. You enact the law, but from the new perspective. You do not imagine safety because you are afraid of death. You imagine peace because peace is the truth of your being. You visualize the shelter as a bubble of golden stillness. You see the woman next to you calm. You see the child sleeping. You hold this image with a ferocious intensity. You impose your order upon the chaos. Slowly, the atmosphere in the shelter changes. The woman stops screaming. Her breathing slows. The child stops crying. A strange hush falls over the group. The bombs are still falling, but the terror has been neutralized. You sit there for 6 hours, holding the frequency. You are a lighthouse in hell. When the all clear sounds, you walk out into the smoking ruins of the street. You are covered in dust. You are alive. The woman touches your arm. "Thank you," she whispers. She doesn't know what you did. She just knows that when she looked at you, she remembered that she was safe. You walk back to your hotel, stepping over rubble. You realize that this is the true use of the power. Not to get cars, not to get fame, but to redeem the world. To look at the wreckage and see the restoration. To look at the sick and see the healed. To look at the dead and see the eternal. You return to New York. You are older now. Your hair is gray. The vanity of your youth is a distant memory. One afternoon, you are walking in Central Park. The leaves are turning gold. You are sitting on a bench watching the ducks. You are not trying to manifest blue feathers. You are just enjoying the ducks. A shadow falls over you. You look up. It is Martha. She looks older. There are lines around her eyes. She is wearing a simple coat, not the expensive furs you used to buy her. She looks real. She looks solid. Your heart gives a single heavy thump. "I read your new book," she says. Her voice is steady. "Did you?" you ask. "Yes, it's different. It sounds like you." "I hope so." She sits down on the other end of the bench. She doesn't look at you. She looks at the pond. "I found myself," she says quietly. "I waited tables. I taught piano. I lived in a room the size of a closet. It was hard, but it was mine." "I'm glad," you say, and you mean it. You're glad she struggled. You're glad she escaped your web. You respect her reality. "I missed you," she says. "Not the man who tried to own me, but the man who was hiding underneath him." She turns to look at you. "Are you still trying to control everything?" You smile. You open your hand. "I'm not in charge anymore. I resigned." She studies your face. She sees the absence of the grasping energy that used to suffocate her. She sees the space you have made for her to exist. She slides a few inches closer. "I'd like to get a coffee," she says. I would like that, you say. You do not visualize the outcome of the date. You do not fast forward to the wedding. You do not try to secure the future. You just stand up, offer her your arm, and walk out of the park. You enjoy the uncertainty. You enjoy the surprise. You are finally living in the raw, unedited footage of life, and it is beautiful. The decades roll on. You grow old. The body begins to fail. The machine is wearing out. The knees ache, the eyes dim. The young man who wanted to conquer the world is now an old man who feeds pigeons and writes letters to prisoners. You have become a legend in certain circles. People come to visit you. They want to know the secret. They want to know how to get the money, the lover, the health. You teach them the law because they need it. You teach them that they are creators because they need to stop feeling like victims. You tell them, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But to the few who are ready, the ones who have the hunger in their eyes that you once had, you teach the promise. You tell them, the law is a tool. Use it to cushion the blows of life. But do not fall in love with the hammer. The purpose of the life is not to build a mansion. The purpose is to meet the builder. You are 80 years old. You are lying in a hospital bed. The room is white. The machines are beeping. Beep, beep, beep. Martha is there. She holds your hand. She is an old woman now, beautiful in the way that dried flowers are beautiful. You feel the tide going out. The energy is withdrawing from the fingertips, from the toes. The interface is shutting down. The doctor looks concerned. He checks the monitors. He thinks you are afraid. He thinks this is the end. But you are laughing inside. You know what this is. You have rehearsed this 1,000 times in the silence. This is not the end. This is the waking up. You look at the world, the nurse, the window, the sunlight on the floor. You see it for what it is. It is a dream you dreamt. It was a marvelous, terrifying, heartbreaking, exquisite dream. You loved it. You hated it. You wrestled with it. And now, the alarm clock is ringing. You squeeze Martha's hand one last time. You want to tell her that you will see her in the morning in the place where there are no masks. You close your eyes. The you that is the writer, the husband, the man. He takes his final breath. He dissolves. But the I am opens its eyes. The hospital room is gone. The pain is gone. The history is gone. You're standing in a light that is brighter than 1 billion suns, yet it does not blind you. You are home. You remember everything. You remember that you are not the little actor who played the part. You are the infinite author who wrote the play. You look down at the timeline you just left. You see it like a closed book on a table. The life of your name, 1900, 1980. A good story, a tragedy, a comedy, a romance. You feel a sense of immense satisfaction. You played it well. You got lost and you found yourself. That is the only game there is. And now? Now the infinite stretches before you. Other worlds, other dreams, other costumes. You can be anything. You can go anywhere. The power is yours. It always was. You look at the listener, at you, the one listening to this voice right now. Yes, you. You think you are sitting in a room, holding a phone, wearing headphones. You think you are a person with a name, a debt, a problem, a desire. You are not. You are the dreamer. You are God asleep, dreaming that he is a human. Wake up. Look at your hands. Look at the room around you. Do not just see them. Create them. The book is in your hands now. The pen is in your fingers. The ink is wet. The page is blank. What will you write? What will you dare to assume? The silence is waiting for your command. I am.